Happy New Year. Welcome back to Coffee, Kids, and Clarity, this podcast where, there's no judgment here. We're all family, okay? I'm your host, Dawn Kralovich. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are in the midst of the chaos, running children where they need to be, reheating your probably cold coffee at this point, or just maybe sitting down for 2 seconds to gather your thoughts, I'm so happy you're here with me. Today, because it is the new calendar year, as one of many of us who like to, new year, new you, I'd really like to just stuff that in a bag, okay? I want to drop that off somewhere and just not even mention that, the new year, new you, right? There's so much going on, resolutions, all of the things that we think about, and then the chaos post holidays, Christmas, and all that. So I would like to just simply say that you don't need a new you, okay? You just need a truer you. Can we stick with that? I feel like that's just makes more sense, right? And I am here, if you get anything out of this podcast, is I want things to make sense, right? I want things to make sense, as we all have commonalities as humans, but I want things to make sense for you, in particular for you. So in doing that, I would like to hang up again the new year, new you, and just start with leveraging where your life already is and leveraging all of those things moving forward, right? Kind of shift focus and perspective more geared towards that, so we're not like tripping over the same stuff. And if you didn't catch episode 1, is where I kind of introduced myself, what I'm doing here, really what this is going to be about in this podcast. You can go check that out. Any links to anything, my information, or how to access things, that'll always be underneath the show notes. You can check that out. Yeah. So here we go. Let's just dive in, because ain't nobody got time to waste, So, I love a good new planner. Let's be real. I bought my new one. I'm a big fan of that. I like to highlight. I was a ICU bedside nurse for a long time. So, I am a little type A when it comes to highlighting and getting dates down. And I am a mother to 5, so you can imagine the insanity in which our schedules are. So I do like that laid out, on paper, because it does help. But other than that, I'm just kind of not doing things from pressure. Like, I instead want to do it from meaningful place, things that I really want to accomplish or achieve, right? So how to build these goals from your soul, not what society has told us, because let's be real, that's not working. Society as a whole, it's not working for us when it comes to deciding what is good for us, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, right? That's dictated by you. You and you only, of what's good for you, your children, how you see fit. And that's important to just kind of make that line in the sand as we move forward, okay? And when you create these shifts, we want them to stick, right? Like, I know from personal experience, and show of hands, right, for all of us, who have signed up for the new gym, the new course, the new nutrition, the new diet, whatever the heck you want to, whatever. And we have fallen flat after January. And because I truly believe we want the things, the intention behind it is we do want the better that we see fit. It's just a lot of the times the methods or the actions in which we are doing them, they don't stick, like spaghetti on a wall. That's the goal here. If you need that visual, you want your goals to be spaghetti on a wall, where you can throw it and they stick, and also to have fluidity in that. What I mean is that if there is a day you don't get to it, like high sick kids, I don't know about you during holiday break, but we had the plague here in this house. It was all 5 of it ran through my entire house for like 2 weeks. So it was nice to slow down, but also, gross. So with that being said, there are going to be days in which that doesn't always happen, right? And this is where I want you to be really nice to yourself. So just keep that in mind as we move through the episode today, about thinking about those things and, your reaction to having a interruption in your schedule or these things that, you have set in place, and how we can move through those without flipping out and losing our stuff or having a lot of anxiety behind it. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to just take a deep breath and go, okay, that's the goal, right? Decreasing the processing time so we're not losing our stuff every time something new happens, like your 3-year-old colored on your new painted kitchen wall, which I'm not going to be doing any renovations for that reason. The New Year illusion, it's very properly named. It's a very proper named for where I'm going to state some things. And I like to refer to this also as this syndrome, the fresh start syndrome, like kind of referring back to I'm going to sign up for this gym, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Right. So it's coming in hot, right? And we're going to take it back. Again, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, we want to leverage your life right now, like your current reality. We don't make it make sense. Make it make sense for you, because that's why we're here. New habits, new routines, new body, new mindset, new life, new. Again, I still don't have time with 5 children for all the new things. I would like to rather just sculpt in a way the things that I already have in place, and just elevate them, if you will, right? So that invisible clock that's ticking in the background, oh my God, it's already January. What's today? January 7th? We're almost the first week in January already, and I haven't done X, Y, and Z. I would like you just to put that to the side for now, fam, because it serves no purpose, right? It serves you zero purpose. It just adds to the stress and anxiety of the to-do list that's already this big, right? So we can just really leave that to the side because it has no place, right? Because if we're not doing everything new and we're leveraging the things you already have to make them a little shinier, a little bit better, a little bit more, cohesive with the other things, right? It makes sense to just kind of just leave it there. You can let it float. You can just put a little floaty on it, pretend there's a wading pool, and just let it bob. Just let it bob, let it go with the wave. Just let it ride the wave, okay? Because within that, it really does amp up this false urgency that you have to get things done. Again, amping up the anxiety of the things like has no purpose. It's just going to make those shoulda, woulda, couldas inflated. Yeah. So, again, you're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you're not this, you're not that. The labeling can also put floaties on, like the little ones you put on your little kids when they're learning how to swim, You can also put the floaties on that and let that like ride the wave with the other fella there with the little inner tube. Let them float, because it serves no purpose, again, other than just amping you up. So kind of putting all that to the side, and just understanding, and I just really want to say to you, you're not lazy or undisciplined, right? You're human, and honoring your human first by understanding these things, it just makes life so much easier. It makes it smoother, if you will, with less potholes, okay? So I would like to just take that time to let that process and sink in, rewind if need be, because that's a lot as we step into this new year. And I'm excited for you. One, I just want you to know, I want to give you complete permission to just be who you are and leverage the things that you're already nailing, by the way, because I'm sure you probably don't hear a lot of that, especially to like really busy moms. I feel it. I feel that one for you. I just want you to pause right now, and I want you to just do one of these. I'll pat on the back. Okay, friend? You're doing a great job. All right? Just picture me doing that. I just want you to know that, because everybody deserves this. A little pat, So we're going to kind of step in the part 2, the duo, if you will, here, where I want you to define the goals your way, okay? Before we do that, we're going to take a little quick break. So if you need to pause, go to the bathroom, rehydrate, please do so, and I'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, and we're back. You met me right back here. We left off at defining goals your way, okay? Let me ask you something, okay? If a goal for you, if it doesn't have to be measurable, right? Like you're measuring like flour for a cake, right? And what if like achievement doesn't always look like that to-do list or that checklist? Like how does it sit with you when I say it, right? Like is that something that is making you think a little bit differently about how you want to leverage your life already instead of jumping into all the new, right? What triggers that there? Like I really want today your brain to get curious about all the things, right? So if we can do that together, fam, if you need just a minute to take a deep breath, just do that. Just do a reset and think about those things, because if success for you looks different than making $1,000,000, I'm going to join the club, because success for me, how I define success is none of the kids had a meltdown when they got off the bus. Or the 3-year-old didn't have a tantrum today. Nobody came home with new germs. Everybody seems healthy and not sick. And everybody ate their dinner. I mean, for me, that is a very successful day. And that's just one version of myself. Like, that's my mom role, and what my idea of success looks like in my business, in my marriage, in my relationship with family and friends, in any other experiences I have, right? So just let that kind of simmer there too for a second. And I don't ever mind taking the deep breath, because breathing is, I think we forget how to do that. I think most people forget how to breathe, which is, you need that to live. So if you just need the deep breath, take it. It takes 12 seconds. So do that for yourself. So again, success, what does that look like? Peace, joy, presence, less reactivity. Hello. Show of hands, less reaction, right? Because that pulls energy from you, okay? Especially when you are a parent or you have 400 things already going on. Do you really want to spend your good energy on that, losing your you-know-what over things and reacting to them, when we can shift that, right? Because that's part of where you already exist right now. I'd put money on that. I'd put money on it, because I can, from experience, also say that, right? Like, if I'm already here, I don't need anything else pulling my energy, like wasting my reaction on things that don't need a reaction, or that are null and void and really aren't going to impact anybody but me and pull out of me, right? More breathing room in your nervous system. I don't know one parent that couldn't use that just to regulate our nervous system. And in future episodes of this lovely, beautiful Coffee, Kids, and Clarity podcast, we will be diving into that a little bit, because I do obviously have my nursing background and being a bedside nurse for many years and taking care of a lot of ill people, and how I saw a lot of that and how I see it now in the coaching space as a life coach, and how that affects people. So we will, in future episodes, dive into how we regulate our nervous systems, because that's a good one. And what if the goal, oh wait, this is a good one. I wrote this down the other day. I had to write it down a couple times and think about it, is not so much doing more, but getting better at doing less to fill your cup more. Do you want me to repeat that one? I should probably say that one again. What if the goal doesn't look like all the other stuff, but rather you doing less to fill your cup more? That's a doozy. That's a doozy. It took me a little bit to understand that and process that, because I don't even say I think. I know, again, from personal experience, that we are kind of bad at putting ourselves first, especially, again, to all my parents, or you taking care of anybody. If you're a caretaker, just in general, if you have elderly parents, like, we're always putting ourselves on the back burner and just hoping it's going to work out. And does it ever do that? It does not. Or if it does, it's very short-lived, and then you're still trying to clean up the other previous stuff that didn't work out. We don't want it to look like obligation, right? We want it to look like love, like we're setting our intention from a place of loving ourselves and doing those things, right? No more of the obligatory stuff. Like, we want it to actually be aligned with what we really want, and part of that is maybe not, going to the third birthday party on a Saturday where you could have said no, right? And again, referring back to the first podcast, I talk about that a lot, that big word no. That's a complete sentence. It's a good one. So, the body always knows the difference. It knows when things are feeling loving and supportive versus obligatory and just running you ragged and burning you out, okay? So we're going to head on to part 3, leveraging your current reality. Oh, hallelujah. Aren't you glad somebody said that out loud? Because I am, even hearing it coming out of my own mouth. Really good news is that you do not need to reinvent the wheel here. Like, you can pull from other support and resources, whatever information I have. By the way, I have a catalog of information, whether it be books, podcasts, research. You just let me know. You shoot me an email. All my information will be listed below. If you just, hey, I heard you talking about this. Do you have a resource for me? You know what? I sure do. And if I don't, I'm probably going to go find it, because that's the real big geek in me, where I really need to have an answer for everything, and I really want the science behind it. So feel free to always reach out if you want a little bit more information about something. And again, if we're leveraging what already exists, right? We're not pulling from something over here. It's things that are aligned changes that make sense for you. It could be the simplest. It should be the simplest, let's be real, because we're not adding 400 things. It's just going to make us more stressed out, more overwhelmed. I'm thinking more of like, say you're working on your water intake, okay? Water's great. Side note, stay hydrated, people. It supports your immune system more than you think. We're 86% water, so that's the real nursing part of me that I'll just leave right there. But yeah, so can you just add a cup of water, 8 ounces of water a day, instead of the 32-ounce Stanley cup? You might want to just try that, because that's probably going to work better with your current reality than the one that you're focused on over here that doesn't exist, right? And everything we are doing now is leading up to the longevity of those things. And, you're going to tugboat along here. You don't need to be speed racing in the speedboat and hitting more waves. Just tugboat, slow and steady. What is that? Slow and steady wins the race. Again, those corny sayings that when I was a kid, I was like, what does that even mean? Have so much more meaning now that I'm 44, and I understand them completely. So something that you want to sit with, okay? Think about that. And which I already mentioned, if you're a caregiver, your me time looks different. If you're a busy season where, the capacity is going to look a little different for you, what you can and cannot give. So great example, I have to use myself, right? I'm my own best example of any of this, is that, I have aging parents and I have young kids, and their needs are different, and they both need to be fulfilled, and I only have so much to give to that. So, excuse me, so me time, what that might actually look like for me is just going for a walk, throwing on my headphones and listening to a dope podcast, Coffee, Kids, and Clarity. You knew I was going to plug that. Or just maybe reading a book for 20 minutes, or a hot bath with a little mag salt. I'm just a hot bath for 10 minutes, door locked, no kids banging on the door. That's the catch right there, right? So what that looks like for me is going to be different from the next. Or if it's the same, great, cool. You can use those examples. And it doesn't mean it's less special or sacred too, just because you're not doing all the new things, you're not at the new gym, you're not on the new diet, you're not doing, what's wrong with the 8 ounces of water a day until you can get a little bit more, until this season of life, again, for me, it's more caregiving. So I may not be able to add much more until a little further down the line, right? And I am going to be doing an episode, and I think it's important, especially with today's society, about the comparison game. How we need to not compare ourselves to others. So that's going to be that's a whole nother episode that needs to be done, because there's a lot to that. Again, what I'm doing, what my life looks like, is probably going to be different to your schedule and what you're doing. So not holding ourselves over the flame there, folks. Okay, with that, I hope that resonates, because, I'm open to any feedback you guys have. I like to refer to feedback as feed forward, because it fuels me to move forward and do things a little bit differently that might be a little bit better. So don't ever feel afraid to reach out to me, even something like that. Cool, I'm cool with it. I'm not going to yell at you. It's very hard to offend me. So I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, so we can reframe that together. You and me right here, right now. We can reframe right now together and see how that fits. And, if it doesn't, reach out. If you need a pause here, we'll give you a little bit of time. When we come back, I'm going to talk about a couple more things, and then leave space for what's to come down the pipeline for episode 3. Well, welcome back. Did you hydrate? Did you throw yourself the extra 8 ounces of water? Do you see how I'm helping you here? Do you see it's a give and take? Okay. Okay, right on to part 4 as one does. We're going to keep going here. Soulful goal alignment. So I I have learned to pause, which if you knew me personally, and hopefully you get to know me a little bit more as we move through this podcast, pausing for me is very difficult. You can imagine why. I mean, you could tell I talk a little fast, I move a little fast, I'm very high energy, so pausing was something I really have had to work at, especially the past couple of years, you know. And the reason why I'm going to ask you to do that now is pause before you say yes. Not necessarily you're going to say no to something, okay? But just pause before you actually make the decision, because a lot of times the yes part, or before you jump to answer, is it's the whatever narrative's running in the background in that beautiful subconscious of ours that already wants to say yes for you, and you may not want to say yes to that, or you might want to move it out, or you might want to do it a little differently, right? So I'm going to ask you to just pump the brakes on that one and just see how that rolls before you make a decision, because it's not emergent. I mean, let me just clarify. Obviously, it's an emergency. Please do it emergently, but it's not emergent. And for me personally, as a bedside nurse, I did all the emergent stuff. I worked trauma and I did intensive care, so you can imagine what comes with that. I had to really slow that role for myself and understanding like nobody's getting hurt. Like I don't have to, like nothing set on fire. I can take the couple of minutes to just pause, to pump the brakes, and decide if this is what I really want to say yes to, whatever that looks like. So that is definitely something I will be leveraging from my current reality where I am right now. And join me in that. Just let me know. Let me know how that works for you. And the reason why I also say that is this is where we get to check our energy, family. Okay, where you just get to audit your energy. Again, going back to kind of circling back to where we were at the beginning of the episode here, about how that looks for you. Like, what season of life are you in? Do you have the capacity to do that, right? Like, we really do. Auditing our energy is huge. It has changed so many things for me because, again, it's like, do I want to do that? Do I have the capacity for that? And if I do, is that the way I want to do it, right? Right? And again, I want those wheels turning, a little hamster on the wheel in there. I know it's in there, to really get you to start thinking and be curious about yourself in this way. And you know, just throwing it at you, that might be a great way to leverage where you're already at, right? This reality you're already in. Can ask yourself, do I need this right now? Is this something I need right now? Again, kind of just pointing back onto or landing on success. Does this feel success in my body, my mind, body, and soul? Is this a form of success for me? Like, what is that for me? Just defining what success is for you, define it first, and then inputting in this part where, is this a form of that for me? Is it worth my time in that way, right? And what do I want to do to sustain it, if so, right? Do I need to start, stop? Like, again, this is where your energy is going to play a big role, because if it's something you have to just keep starting and stopping, is it worth it for you right now in this moment? Is it something that you really need to address or really want to do? And yeah, we are human. Oh, as much as I love to let you know you are a soul, you are a beautiful, bright soul, you are human first, right? We have to understand that our human needs have to be met so we can do all of the other things, right? So is this aligned with where you are? Like, okay, great example. The plague that was in my house. I didn't feel good for a few days. I didn't get it as bad, but like, I just literally was like, I have no energy to get out of bed today or do all of this. So just kind of checking yourself there and understanding, like, is this aligned with me physically, like the human part of me first, so I can then, do the rest of it. And it's a good way too, and I will be kind of talking about that when I do an episode in regards to nervous system and how that all works in the physical, really scientific, cellular, geeky part of me that I like to talk about as a nurse, about like, how does it feel in your body? Like if you are setting something in place, if you are saying something, you want to do something, right? Do you feel constricted? Like, do you feel your muscles actually tightening? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, where you're just sitting there, like you can just feel it, like your hands are just like going like this, like your body's doing that internally. Like, listen to that. Again, future episodes, we're going to be talking about all sorts of beautiful things, intuition being one of them and why it's there and how, it does help regulate our nervous system and what that looks like. So, listen to your body, if it feels expansive to you. If it feels like a really good deep breath where you're, and that's what it feels like in your body, perfect, beautiful. Go with it. If it feels restricted or as if you are like labored breathing, probably something you want to think about before you really answer or you really want to take action on. Okay? Let your intuition have a vote this year. Let it be part of the where it raises its hand and goes, hey, I want in on this. I really want to poke my head through. So that's part of that soul part of you. Even though you're human, like that other part of you that actually exists there, okay? And last but not least, we're gonna do part 5 for this is from resolutions to rhythm, right? That's that spaghetti on the wall that I was throwing that we want to stick, okay? And this is kind of a truth I wanna leave you with. The goal is not to fix yourself. I wanna share this with you. I've said it in the previous first episode. I'm gonna say it. You're gonna hear me say it a lot. I'm gonna have some catch things. You're gonna hear a lot throughout these podcast episodes. And the biggest one is you're not broken. You do not need to be fixed. You, whoever needs to hear this, okay? Back and forth a couple times. There's nothing wrong with you, okay? This is the human experience. I cannot stress that enough. Everybody's getting lifed right now, fam. Everyone. Life is just lifing. That's what it does. So to hold yourself to that, it's so heavy and draining, right? So if we could just honor where you're at. Can we do that? Can you just honor yourself where you're at and not try to inflate what doesn't make sense for you in the moment or your household or whatever. Just honor where you're at and just keep it there and just, plug away at it. Tugboat. I'm telling you, the tugboat's going to catch. Growth, it does not have to be aggressive. It's supposed to be effective, right? Like, we're not like, two dogs in a cage here. Like, it's not supposed to tear us apart and rip us down into the bare nothing, like the bottom of the barrel. It's supposed to be effective. So we feel better about it. Therefore, we want to take more action. Like, great, perfect example. Like, I'm back on my heavy lifting because it makes me feel good. And when I do that, I eat more protein to fuel my body better. And then I'm like, oh yeah, more water because I'm more thirsty from eating the delicious protein. Kind of see where I'm going here? Like that cyclic pattern, that behavior that follows when we honor where we're at and we want it to be effective and not like, a great white shark. Okay, we don't need the aggression. We got enough of that in the world today. So if we just honor and just stay there, it'd be great. It can be gentle. It can be joyful. It can be peaceful. It doesn't have to be loud, obnoxious, okay, in your face. I mean, I get it. I talk with my hands. I'm kind of like that sometimes, but it's not something like I want at me in my goals and where my mindset is all of the time. I want to turn it down. And let's just be real for a minute. If it doesn't fit into my life right now in between dinner deadlines, sporting events, appointments, plays, whatever, it's not going to make sense. So we're going to wrap up with just saying we want this to make sense. So we're going to honor where we're at. We don't need a new you. You're not broken, nothing to fix. Honor where we are. We're going to leverage the things that you're already doing. We're going to take more actions. Again, if you need a little more meat and potatoes, if you're just curious more about this, please reach out. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm here, because it's so meaningful to me in that way. I'm extremely grateful to be sitting here with you and having these discussions, and you're listening to me yap about all the things. So feel free to reach out always. And then, just kind of stepping into episode 3. Oh, just life be lifing, fam. The balance between stuff. What is balance? First of all, we can just address that. And how do we do that? Like, again, kind of similar to this, like seasons change, like everything is changing. And we really just want to address what that looks like because there's a lot of flashy buzzwords like balance or like alignment and stuff like that. So if we can just take the time to kind of figure that out, what that looks like, and really talk about it in the next episode. So thank you for joining me. I wish you the happiest of New Year. I hope everybody's well and healthy. And if you need me, you know where to find me. Talk to you soon.